So I got some water here, right, to clean my brushes. All right. Can you all see me? Can you see the videos so far? I've got this here so I can just paint the back of my board without having to get it all over my towel. Okay, you can see me. Awesome. Okay, we're going to start with some gray, and if you do not have gray, my favorite thing for gray is about a 50-50 mix. The voice is fine. Okay, 50-50 mix of black and white. That's my favorite type of color of gray, and that's about what's going to be on here. So about half and half, right? And if that's not enough, I'm just going to mix it up with this brush here. Okay, it makes a nice, decent color gray. You can see and hear me. Okay, well, you know what? I'm just gonna keep moving until Facebook actually kicks me off. If they don't kick me off, awesome. And there's a replay after. So if something happens and you can't get, oh, thanks, Vicky, and you can't see or hear me for a minute, you can watch the replay later. So don't worry. Okay. So the replay. I'm just gonna take the gray paint and I'm gonna do the whole thing, fairly heavy. Okay, in that gray. See that gray there? That's what this is. So we're just going to base coat the entire thing, okay? Shame on Facebook. I know. They should know we're trying to have a party. What's up with that? Must be something going on. I see this happen once in a while with Facebook. Things get crazy. And guys, if you can't keep up, just hang around and you can watch the replay and paint with me after, okay? But I can't stop now. No, stop me now. Having a good time. All right, so you see that? We're going to have a photo of messiest hands at the end too, okay? Sprinkled with, oh, thank you, Alice. Thank you, guys. You said that and it froze. Shame on Facebook. All right. We just need a gray background. Okay, that's all you need. Okay? It's pretty simple. First time, they're trying to keep us on our toes. That's right, but you know what? We're going to keep going because we're stubborn. So if you wind up getting behind because it freezes on you now, just stay here, stop your painting, wait for the replay, which comes up about 5 minutes after this is over, okay? Trust me, I will save this before I let it go. And then you can watch the replay and paint it so you don't feel like you're not going to be able to get this done. I just really wish we could all be doing it together. That's the main thing, right? So I've got my background done, and I'm just putting it down. I have learned to paint flat, so that's what I do, okay? That's just how I am. So that's a fairly wet board. Let's see, can you see that? It's a bit shiny. See how shiny it is? There's a decent amount of paint on there. That's so we can blend, okay, a little bit of the color. All right, so now we're going to take this really scruffy brush, okay, and we're going to go, I'm going to just put that there for now, with a tiny bit. Don't do this, Facebook. There we go. There we go. All right, a tiny bit of black, and we're going to dry brush and blend in a little bit, okay? So see these here, okay? These blacks here, that's with this scruffy brush. So I'm going to dab it in my paint, dab it out there a little bit, and then just kind of drag it straight up and down. Don't be too concerned about it. Yeah. Hey, Joni, that works too. There's a picture already on Facebook. So, all right, so we're just going really lightly, and I'm just dragging some streaks through it, okay? And because it's wet, you can blend it in as much as you like, but I didn't blend it very much in there, okay? So I'm not going to bother. So just kind of like that. Then you could do more if you want. And just make it blend while it's wet, okay? But keep it all going in that kind of one direction. See how everything's going in one direction there? All right. Let me see if I can move my paints over here. Maybe I can move this picture where you can see it. I don't want to knock over my beer, though. All right. There we go. How's that? Okay? Here's the plan. So this picture's already up, and this is, they're not going to look the same. They're going to be sisters. They're not going to be twins, right? So you just play with it as much as you want. Do not worry about the edges. That's a special technique I'm going to show you, okay? Don't worry about those, all right? We're just trying to get this part in here. And don't worry, the really dark, streaky ones, that's also a special technique, okay? So let me just make sure I'm seeing all the comments. All right, good stuff. All right, so we've got the, what shade of yellow? I have no idea. Very bright, sunshiny yellow. Okay, I don't have any shades because I use house paint, guys. So I don't have a. It's not like a deco art or anything that has an actual shade. You just pick a color you like. I use a bright color. You can see it's pretty bright, pretty vibrant. Okay, so that's what I have. That's what I used. Okay, so that's good. And now I'm going to take a little bit of white. All right, do the same thing again with the white. So I'm going to clean out my brush. Dry it out a bit. Oh, you got two shades. Okay. And then I'm going to use the white. And there's going to be black in there. That's okay. And I'm just going to... Okay. This is why I like this. You can blend. See, it's giving different... As long as everything's wet. That's a new technique for me. I'm not used to blending wet paints. That's not how I learned how to paint. All right, so can you see the different sort of streakiness happening, and can you see how that's what's happening there? Okay. Let's see. All right. Is everybody okay so far? How is everybody doing? Did I lose you all? All right. Then if you want, you can always go back to the black, right? And you can always lightly add in some more black. All right, but here's my favorite part. Let's add some turquoise or some red. This is like, imagine your barn board is old and faded, and it's the paint has faded off of it, and it used to be, for some reason, turquoise. I don't know why. It used to be turquoise, but now it's, so you can see I have a bit of turquoise there. I don't have a lot on here, okay? Or it might have been a red barn, in which case use red paint for this, okay? So everything's going along so good so far. So we're doing all of this wet, then we're going to dry it, okay? And we're going to dry it before we do the sunflower. That's what the blow dryer is for. So I'm going to take a bit of my turquoise, and I'm going to just dab some off there. And then I'm going to just, again, blend it. Just hit a few spots. A lot of this is going to be covered up over here, so don't worry too much about that. See, and it's just a little bit of turquoise in there. It's not much. You can add more if you want, if you like more color. You just do what you like, okay? So you see it's just sort of faded, and I could do a touch more, because you can see some where it's not, the sun hasn't faded it off yet. This picture's going to have a story, right? And the sun has not managed to fade that off yet, so so we can blend that. Turquoise is my favorite color, so you don't be surprised if I use a lot of it. Okay, so I'm good with that. Okay, and now if you look at this, you can see that's all in there, right? You can do more dark, more light, but you can see that's pretty much what I did over here. Again, they're going to be sisters, they're not going to be twins, but now we're going to dry this so we can do the next steps, and they're kind of fun, okay? You made an orangey yellow. That's okay, Diane. Everybody's is going to be different. We want this to be a reflection of you and your personality, right? That's what art is all about. And this is fun art, right? So far so good. You have no yellow, so you made an orangey yellow. Perfect, perfect. All right, so I'm going to blow dry this. You guys, if you have a blow dryer, please do it. All right, you know it's dry. Don't do this until you're fairly sure it's dry. You know it's dry when it stops being shiny, like super shiny, wet shiny. And you can touch it and you don't get any paint on your hand that you didn't have there before, okay? So you know that it's dry. And that's dry enough for what we want, okay? So I know it looks good streak through it, you know, doesn't it? It looks like the barn was painted turquoise once and then the sun has faded it away and there's this long story that goes with it. That we don't know anything about, but we wish we did. That's the farmhouse vibe, right? So I'm just going to grab myself a drink, and I'm going to just chit-chat with you guys for a minute. So how's everybody doing? Just say good. Let me know when you're ready, when you're blow-dried, so I can move on. I'm just going to chit-chat for a minute while people get their backgrounds dry. You can always do this, too, if you're doing it with a paper plate. We used to do this at the painting parties all the time. This was the way we dried, because I couldn't I can't talk. Couldn't bring blow dryers into a restaurant. I figured that the other patrons that were trying to have their dinner. It's okay, Karen. We just did the background, and the replay's going to be up for 24 hours. Basically, we did gray, and then like wet, we blended in some streaks of black and then streaks of white and turquoise. That's it. If only the walls could talk. Okay, that's it. We're not worried about this black yet or this. Okay, this is a special technique I'm going to show you next. But right now, Karen, I'm having a chit chat while everybody dries theirs. Oh, you made almond cookies today, Joni. Send me some. Paula's good, all dry. Okay, so ladies, don't be rushed because we got a few people that are had a hard time keeping up with me on my traipsing around on Facebook. Like 3 tries later, right? So you're going to need this next. All right. And you're going to need your black paint and your white paint. So, move these over here. Well, we don't need that much, trust me, okay? I'll draw yummy cookies, yeah. So, anybody make anything good for dinner? We had fajitas. What did you guys have? Tell me what you had for dinner. We're just waiting for Karen to catch up. And Karen's a quick study, so she won't take long. So, but poor Karen, she had to hunt me down 3 times on Facebook. It doesn't normally go that way, Karen. It doesn't normally go that way. So, tell me what you had for dinner tonight. What did you make? Or if you haven't had dinner yet, what you're having. Okay? Maybe I can get some new good ideas for dinners. So we could either use a palette knife if you have this, okay? But not everybody's going to have that. So if you have an old gift card or an old credit card that you don't use anymore, one of those plastic cards is what we're after, okay? You're going to need that now, all right? Pizza and fajitas. Oh, good. We had fajitas tonight. Pizza, Joan, yeah. Pizza's a good idea. I wish you guys could see me. I'm going to figure that out for next week, okay? I promise. I'll get my husband's very techie and very smart about these things. Grilled ranch chicken, fresh corn, homemade mac and cheese with croissant. I am going to Michelle Conrad's next time for dinner. Pizza, salad, and beer. Kathy, I like your style. Shepherd pie. Oh, I like that too, Linda. Yum, yum, yum. Steak, butternut squash, potatoes, and after this, apple crisp. Who's going to Sherry Lynn's for apple crisp? Ranch chicken, yeah. Steak and stir-fried rice. Oh, that sounds good, Diane. Steak seems to be a theme. I could use that right now. That would be awesome. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. So, getting some good ideas from you guys. All right, who's dry? Was delish. Yeah, it sounds like it, Michelle. Okay, who is dry? Say ready, ready, ready. And if you're ready, I'm going to take the next step. And Karen will just, Karen and anybody that's, if you're not yet dry and ready to move on, that's okay. Remember, there's going to be a replay, so you're not behind. We're here to have fun, right? Keep that in mind at all times, okay? More important than anything, let's have fun. And this, you can always put your paintbrushes down and watch the replay after and go step by step and use the video to scroll back and forth and all that. Meatloaf and then ice cream. Marinated chicken with some ranch and mayo overnight and then grill the next day. Oh, that sounds good. Guys are making me hungry and I already ate. Okay, we're going to move on. And I'm just going to move this so you can see what's up next, okay? So we're going to take the credit card. This is kind of fun, kind of scary, all at the same time. And we're going to take the card and we're just going to run it through that black paint. All right? And then tap it out. So, see that on the edge? I want you to come up to the edge on just a slight angle and then just drag it down a little bit and see what it does. All right? Then I'm going to do the same thing, pick up some more paint over here again on an angle, not straight up, okay? Just a bit on, slightly on an angle and press down and just kind of pull, all right? Then I'm going to go through this paint again. See that? And I'm just going to, the more you press down, the more it drags out, all right? And then I'm going to flip it around. This might actually be the bottom. I might decide that that's the bottom of my, and I'm going to, on an angle, okay? All right, do you see that? It's going to be different every single time, you guys. You're going to get different effects every time. It can never be the same. It'll never be the same twice. You can actually go all across your board if you want. Okay? Keep it fairly dry though, okay? Got that? So, then I'm going to clean this off, wipe that card off. I'm going to dry that, and then I'll move on to the next bit. Okay, so you can see the last time I did it, I pulled it down further. I don't know how, I just did, right? Every time is going to be different, all right? So everyone is going to look different. I'm going to dry that. Okay, I'm going to take that card again, back through the black paint again, so drag it through, okay? Then now imagine thirds here. See how I have thirds here? 1, 2, 3. I visualized it myself. You can measure if you like, but that's just not me. I'm going to stand my card straight up. I'm going to drag it down. I'm not expecting it to go all the way down. See that? Okay. I'm not expecting it to, so I'm going to do the other side. I'm probably going to start here. And I'm not worried about whether it's perfect or not. Then I can go through it again. And through it again. See that? Okay. So it's not perfect. That's okay, guys. We don't want it to be. All right? I think my because I'm sitting down painting, it might be kind of curved. So I normally stand when I paint. So once I've got that, I'm going to dry it, and then I'm going to do it again with white. That's pretty thick right there, so I'm drying that really well. All right, I'm going to get some white. I'm going to go to the other side of the card just to be sure I don't get black paint on it. Okay, so I'm just going to use the other side of the card. And I'm going to try and go pretty close to what I did before. See how that does that? All right. Now I'm going to... You don't have to get the whole thing. And see how it gives it some depth, right? Thank you, Tammy. Tammy Sprinkled. I'm going to also do it just in a couple of spots, but I'm going to use the short edge of the card now. Okay, so dry it off, and I'm just going to go in the white on the short edge, and I'm just going to do a couple of... And I'll probably do a couple of black too. See how it makes it look like old board? Does it save it to your page? Yes, it does. But when I remove the video, it will be removed everywhere. Looks real, doesn't it, Joni? Pretty cool, huh? All with an old credit card. So I find that's pretty thick, so I'm going to go back for some black. And I'm just going to use a short edge like we were just doing. And I'm probably going to go right through it. There we go. Yeah, my boards are not straight. But that's okay, because barn board is not straight. Now this, like I say, one of these sides is going to be, is probably going to, well, we're going to choose one. Now I'm going to go over, and I'm going to do the same thing with some more black. See, that's what these straight lines are all about, is the card. Okay? So just dot around. Don't worry much about it. Just have some fun, okay? Since I'm going to probably put my flower over here, I'm just going to keep it mostly in here. Warped. Yeah, it's warped. It's seen some sun. But isn't that the truth of wood, right? Like, how many pieces have you ever had that warped? So I know it. And try not to be too symmetrical. You just want it to be really random looking. And I think I'm going to call that good. Okay? I'm going to stop now, except I'm going to put probably a little bit of white right there. I say I'm going to stop now, but I don't really stop, right? There we go. And I'm going to dry that, and I'm going to put my card down, right? And have a drink. Cheers, ladies. Have a drink. Facebook didn't beat us. We beat Facebook. Okay. So if something's bothering you, you can always go take a tiny bit of gray. It's not really bothering me, but I want to show you anyway. Okay. And you can just brush over it and tone it down. Okay. So don't feel like you're stuck with that brilliant white if that's not your thing. Okay. Just a tiny bit of paint, really dry. Okay. I'm going to do it over there too. Okay. And I think it just looks a little less new. All right. This side again is not going to be a big deal over here because it's going to be covered up anyway. All right. How are we all doing? Okay, so I like this for the bottom. I'm going to leave that. I think I want a little more. See how you can fix that? Totally okay. And then you can blend in a tiny bit of black. And who would ever know? You see? It's pretty easy, isn't it? Pretty awesome. I really like that. Okay, so I want this to be dry, and then I'm going to show you how to do this guy here. All right? So I have no idea how long we've been on. Your gray is darker. That's okay, Vicky. Everybody's is going to be different, right? So, and mine might be because of my lighting too, because it actually looks lighter on the monitor than it does in front of me. So my lighting is probably because I got lots of light on this so you guys can see. It could be that my gray is, it's a 50-50 black and white mix, so, or ish, you know. But please, everybody's going to be different. Maybe my barn board's older than yours. And your barn board, you know, has to age some more or something. All right. So this needs to be dry so we can do this part. All right. Now I did ask for chalk, but if you don't use chalk, it's okay. If you've got a straight edge, this is what I really want. I forgot to mention it, but it's going to be easier if we use this. All right. So I'm just going to show you what I did. First of all, I took a cup, okay, and about halfway down, I just marked like that, okay? So about halfway. And that's the reason I like chalk is because look what you can do, right? If you hate it, you can take it off, all right? If you don't have chalk, do just a light coat of white paint, okay? Use your liner brush and just go around. Don't make it heavy, super, super light. It's just sort of a base to work from, okay? That's all we're after. Then we're going to take this and see how far that petal went. It's gone to this board here, right in the center. We're just going to take our chalk and go out to there, okay, like that. Now, if you see these petals here, all right, they're not quite, they're a little bit off, but they're not quite. So let's see. I'm going to say about a ½ inch in. I'm going to move the ruler about ½ inch in, and I'm going to try and go for the same distance as that. What is that? In my case, it's 4 inches from there. Okay, so if I don't have 4 inches, so you're just going to have to make it work. And I do have 4.5 there, so I'm a little further up the board. Okay, just so you know. So then we'll make this like 3.5. Okay, you do what you got to do. All right, I'm just going to do this to here, and I'm going to go to about there. All right, that's where the pointy part of the petal is going to be, right there, okay, and there. And now we're going to just find, let me see, the halfway mark, maybe about here, and about here. And we're just making like almost like a sunshine, okay? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, that's right. So. Okay. more or less. Again, not anything fancy. Let me see if I can see why I like the chalk, because you can okay, got that? So now what we're going to do is we're going to, from here to here, we're going to make a petal. Just curve it up. And there to there, we're going to make a petal. Then from here to here, we're going to make a petal. There to there. From here to here, there to there. From here to there, and just imagine where that goes. Okay, so this is your center. This is your center line, and you've taken your petal down to that edge. This is your next petal, and you want to bring it over to that center line again. Okay, like that. See that? Then you're going to bring it from here to that line. Then from here back to that line. Then from here to this one. Then from here over to that one. And then like that. More or less. Can't tell what you did? All right. So there's the first line there. Okay. So that's your base basically. So you take your curved line and you go down to the bottom. See your straight lines that I did? The 4 straight lines coming out. Okay. I'm going to just curve down to the bottom of that line. And this one's going to go down to the bottom of that line. Can you see how they did that? Or you can just draw it in. Totally draw it in. Going out for a chef-made vegan dinner at a friend's house. Karen, I knew you'd catch up. All right, do you see that, guys? So maybe take a screenshot if you need that. All right. But from the center, cross over and go to the other line. From the center, cross over and go down to that line. Okay, cross over the next petal. All right. All of that's not going to matter. The only thing we're going to be concerned about is this. All right. That's what we're really going for. Okay. All the rest of it is just, you know, if it makes it easier, great. If it doesn't, if you want to just freehand it in, totally do that. Okay. So, see that? That's pretty much how that came to be. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this chalk and we're just going to come down about an inch from these corners. I'm just going to erase that. Okay. You don't need any of this now. All right. All right. So you can see I'm more concerned about this. So we just get the petal shapes. Okay. I'm going to turn it this way. It's going to be easier for me. See, basically you've got a sunshine coming up, more or less. See that? Let me move this guy over. Okay. So this one looks like it's going to be smaller than that one. It looks like I went smaller on this one. Because look, this one's all the way over there and this one is not. So they're different. All right. I can fix that now when I paint. And I'm going to start painting with white. Okay. And I'm going to use, I like my flat brush for this. Or your small flat brush for this kind of painting. Okay. Or you might like the round brush, but don't go tiny. Okay. So I'm going to take this. Start with my small flat brush, and I'm going to paint in white, okay, because that yellow will not pop against the gray unless I do that. And I'm just going to follow those lines, because if you did it in white, great, and if you didn't, if you did it in chalk, you can wipe the chalk off when you're done, okay? So I'm just going to go right over that chalk. I'm not going to be concerned about it, because I'm going over this again with yellow. All right. Don't worry about this because that's going to be brown. It'll cover. Right. I'm just concerned about the petals. So come down about. Well, come down to that circle. Let's just do that. Let's just keep it safe. All right. So come down to that circle. Don't worry about the circle. Just come down that far. Okay. We're just going to fill in the petals. Do you want to make the petals bigger now? Now's the time. This doesn't have to be perfect. This is just a base for your yellow to sit on, okay, so that it'll pop right out. Okay? If you want to paint the entire thing, you go right ahead. See, I'm kind of changing the shape of my petals as I go too. I'm just kind of thinking, I think they're too skinny, so I'm going to make them bigger. It's what I want. And I'm going right over all that work I did on the board, which is why I said don't worry about this side too much. It does not have to be super solid because this is just a coat that's going under your yellow so that your yellow has something to sit on and it won't be washed out by that gray underneath. Because yellow is a tricky color to paint. How are we doing? Everybody managing to keep up? So I want that petal to be a little more. How's that? Is everybody, you're awfully quiet out there. I'm hoping you're all painting and you're not cursing me. So you can paint in here if you want. If that makes you feel better, you go ahead and do it. See, I just painted right over that chalk. Okay? But if there was anything left, you could totally wipe it off later on. That's why I like chalk on paint when it's dry. It doesn't work when it's wet. But all right. And that needs to dry. So I'll give you guys a few minutes. All right. Basically, that is what we have. I'm gonna wash that brush. We'll be doing yellow next. Actually, I think we'll do the brown next. All right, brown will be next, okay? So we're going to mix brown and white. I want a lighter brown for a background. It's not super light though, okay? But lighter, you can see I've got two shades now. I've got a light brown and a dark brown, and I probably want it a bit darker than that. Okay, so we're going to do the light brown to start with. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to go about a finger's width away from the point here. Okay, so just, I better dry this first so you can see. I'm just going to use like a circular, I'm just going to go a circular motion, and I want to keep about a finger width away, but I need to dry that so I can do this. Okay, Karen. There we go. All right, so I'm going to take my flat brush and I'm going to basically draw the circle. See, I'm keeping away from there. I don't want to be right up to the point. I want to be about a finger width away, or two, or whatever. Okay, and I'm going to fill that in. And then I can kind of make it a little more circly. Okay, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Wash that brush out. Now get a dry artist brush, like a kid's brush, or a really scruffy, whatever you got here. Okay, and I'm going to use some dark paint. While this is wet, I'm just going to dab it on there. And give it some life. And I'm going to do a lot of it, but I want some of that under that light brown to show through, right? So. See how scruffy that brush is? Oh. And it's dry. I'm not using any water on it. That's pretty good, I'd say. And then you could do it again with black as well. Okay? Same brush. I'm not going to even change anything. Just don't touch the edge. See how that is? It's okay, Teresa. You're going to have access to this forever, so you'll catch up, Linda. Yeah, it's okay. We had to do 3 tries at the Facebook because it just was being cranky tonight. So we finally quit the fancy feed and just went with plain old overhead camera. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do there, and I'm going to dry that while you guys wait. So you can see it's just got some depth to it, okay? So let me get my blow dryer out. That's good. But I'm not going to really touch that anyway, so I can now start painting the yellow in, okay? So I'm just going to grab some yellow over here, and I'm just going to paint where all the white is. That's it. All right, basically, that's not complicated. I think you can do that, right? Just get your flat brush out again, and I'm going to start over here. I'm just going to cover up all that white. And the reason I did the white was to keep the yellow nice and bright. See that? And if you can't get it right up to the brown for whatever reason, or you get it on the brown a little bit, don't worry, because we got a little detail we're going to do in a minute that's going to help cover that up. right? So just to give it more depth and make things easier for you. So we're just going to paint all the yellow now. And this way you don't have to do a whole bunch of coats of yellow, because yellow is like white paint. It's a bit of a pain to paint, and if you don't know that you need a white base so it's not competing with the gray underneath and washed out by it, it can be fairly frustrating. So that's why I showed you to do the white first, to make it really pop. Otherwise it would be very muddied by the gray underneath, because the color underneath does affect the color on top. So basically we just blocked out that gray and gave it fresh canvas. Thanks, Tanya. All right, and I'm not even that concerned. See where I've gone off a little bit on the past the white onto the gray. See that you can see the difference. What the color would happen. What would happen if it was all gray underneath. But the reason I show you that is because we're going to be doing these black outlines, and they don't even go right to the edge sometimes. Okay, but the black outline really attracts the eye, and that's what they're going to be looking at. That's what the eye is going to see, is that black outline. It's not going to notice the little things underneath that didn't quite make it to the edge and things like that, okay? You're gonna like next week's. Probably tomorrow I will put it up. It's really interesting too. I like to paint, but I like to have fun with paint as well. I don't like to, I mean, not that I don't just like to paint, because I do, but I like to try different techniques with paint too, with, you know, tools you have around the house and stuff, as you can see with the credit card, right? That's kind of fun for me too, because you can get some pretty fun effects with a little bit of paint and some tools and some knowledge. Okay. So we see we have, it's starting to come to life. Do you see that? Screen is frozen again, Gail. Facebook, stop being so cranky. Don't worry, it'll catch up, and there's a replay after, which will be up until probably 9 o'clock tomorrow night. So, okay. I'm gonna wash that out. Now see, yeah, I think that's good. I like it. So that's how mine looked yesterday, and I actually think I might have whitewashed some gray over this. You can see this is quite a bit darker than this, so I may have put some gray over it. I probably did, looking from the looks of it. And that's something you can do too. All right. How's everybody doing? Are we still managing? All good? So I don't need that ruler anymore. All right. Next step, we shall do, I think, some of the shading in here. So that light brown that we mixed up, if you have any left, or you can mix some more, we're going to use that to do some of these with, either use your filbert or a small, like a small brush of some sort. and a wet brush this time, not a dry brush. So I'm going to use my liner to start with and see how that goes. I'm going to start with the gray, or with the brown. Oh, I need more water in there. That paint's starting to dry out. So I want it fairly wet. See, I'm just adding water to it, and then you get that kind of effect, almost like an ink, okay? So I'm going to just do some lines like around here. And they don't have to go all the way, okay? See, I'm just taking it really quick and loose. And the harder you press down, the thicker your line's going to be. If you want to get a really thin line, you have to go really lightly and a bit more slowly. But you know what? That's not my vibe. Okay? And it just gives some depth to what I did is these sort of brown lines here, these dark brown lines, okay? Out here. Right there along the edges. That's what I'm doing, essentially. Okay? Now I'm going to take some of the black paint and probably a thicker brush, and or it's up to you, okay? I'm going to do these black lines coming out from the center, right in the center of each petal, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing, add some water here to the black paint. I really like my liner brush for this kind of work. It's just a matter of everybody's different. So I'm going to make sure I don't have too much on there, and then I'm just going to do really quick, and it doesn't have to touch all the way down. It can, don't worry if it does, okay? But you can start like out, but maybe 1/4 inch out, and just give it a quick little center of the flower or center of the petal, kind of. You're just giving it the center of the petal, okay? Just like that. And that's how I like to work, is I move my palette around, okay? So you can see I used a thicker brush on here. I'm using a thinner one on there. It just depends on what you like, okay? I will use a thicker brush for my white one now, just because, why not, right? So I better clean that brush out. Okay, my liner. I love me a liner brush. Lynn, you can always watch the replay. That's the beauty of this, okay? I'm going to take some white paint, and you can slow it down and stop it. It's going to be available in like 10 minutes after this is over, and we're almost done, okay? And just do this again. See how I just kind of mimicked these brown lines, okay? So just wherever the brown lines are, just use the white. See that? Okay, and then I did do some orange lines in there. You can do that if you want to mix it up. I think that was some red and some with a little bit of yellow. But I'm probably just going to stick with the brown since it's already made. And see these little ones? I'm just going to go on the sides of the black. Just like that. So see, both flowers are not going to be identical, and that's what we want. Sisters, not twins, right? Your paint is pulling up the paint, Lynn. You need to not overbrush is what's happening. You keep brushing back and forth, and the paint will get pulled up, okay? So you notice I don't go back and forth over it. I just paint it and then get out of there. That's what happens when the wet paint on top wets the paint underneath, and they start to mix together, okay? So use your blow dryer, dry it again, and then be a little more careful not to keep brushing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, okay? Just kind of go around the edge here, in the middle, and walk away. Do you see what I'm saying? All right. That's why the paint is what's happening with the paint. It's getting wet underneath and it's starting to mix with the paint on top. Okay. So I've got, as far as I'm concerned, I've got all my lines in. I'm pretty happy with those. Okay. And they are different. They don't look the same. So you do what you like. I probably have more brown lines on this one than I do on this one, and I could totally do that. But I'm not gonna. I'm gonna move on to the black lines now, okay? And I'm gonna use my liner brush to show you the difference. This I used my my filbert, okay, for the thicker lines. This case I'm gonna use my liner brush so you can see what happens, what the difference is, okay? And I'm gonna show you up close the difference in the size of the brush. There's the filbert there, and you can barely see the liner. It's a much smaller brush. Okay, so I am going to load my liner. Now I'm gonna I'm looking at these. I want this petal to sort of pop up front, so I need to put it center stage. So I'm gonna come right to the flower here, follow along, okay, go back and get some more, right to the flower, and go all the way out to the edge. Okay, like that. You don't have to have black sherry, you can do brown, it will work. Absolutely, brown will work too. All right, and if you want to add more here, you can. So you can see this is a thicker brush, right, and a little bit thinner. No worries. So I just want to start there, and then I'm going to look here, and I see this one is I want it all the way to this second petal. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing to the second petal. Take it all the way down to there, and just go all the way out to the point. Okay, same thing here. Imagine where it would go. Come all the way out to the point. And the other one that's like that I have here is this one. See that? So I'm going to do that guy too. All the way to the bottom. And I'm just going to... Now I ran out of paint there. See that? So I went and got more paint, and I'm going to start where it's dark. There. Got that so far? All right. So this, I think I want to, this one I want to go all the way to the bottom too. All right. So that second flower. And in this case, up against that first one, I want this guy to be in front, so I can't bring that line all the way down. I just want to go follow this along. Now I'm just going to trace the rest of them, basically. Okay? So whatever's left, whatever yellow is left, I'm going to trace. And I keep going back and getting more paint when it starts to get a little draggy, let's say. That's probably the word. So see, I've got just that and that to do now. And then this one is the one that's left. See, that's the last one. Okay. Now the last step on the flower is this little wiggly line here. Now this is, wait for this to dry. I'm going to give it a dry. Wait for it to dry before you try and do the wiggly line, okay? I don't know what kind of liner brush it is. I think I picked it up at the Dollar Tree in a pack of like 3 or 4. It's the smallest brushes you can find. And you can get them at Michael's and Hobby Lobby and places like that too. So tiny little brush, okay? It's teeny. So now that's dry. I'm going to take my brush and that's what I want this dry so I can put my hand down on here, okay? And I won't be dragging paint everywhere. And so I can just wiggle this back and forth, kind of like bric-a-brac. See that? And I'm going to start where I left off and keep going. And just, I want to use this like a little pen. That's why I want to be able to put my hand down, which is why I paint flat, right? Because I could never do this if I was on a canvas that was standing up. I would lose my mind because I would never be able to pull this off. All right. So see how I'm using it like a pen and I'm keeping my hand on the board? Voila. Okay. Fancy, huh? All right, we are done with all the black and all that other stuff. We're going to put those polka dots in now. Okay? We're just going to take the back of our brush, dip it in the white paint, and we're going to dot, dot, dot. You usually get about 3 before it starts to run out. 1, 2, 3. And you're just going to do that as many times as you like. Now this is very thick. It takes a long time to dry, so don't touch this for a few hours. Okay? You could use a bigger brush and get a bigger polka dot. These are my favorite ways to do polka dots. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so easy. See, I think I did use a bigger brush there. But this goes on fairly, like paint becomes quite thick. See that? So I put less on there with a bigger brush. I probably used like the back of this brush because that's what I was working with. And this time is the back of this brush. Let's show you the difference. So each one's going to give you a different size polka dot. Okay? So you can see I had bigger ones here, smaller ones there. Actually, I can show you. I'll show you the different size. All right, so that's like all the seeds or something, I guess. All right, so I did do the vines. I'm not really that thrilled with them, but I would probably do them. I'm going to do them in black, and I'm going to just to show you, and then we're going to call it good. Okay. Now, if you want to do it in green, totally be my guest. All right. I'm going to do it in black, and I'm going to do just a couple of curlicues. So I'm going to go like. Get away from, don't touch that white paint, whatever you do, okay? And I'm just going to use this like a pen again, all right? And I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to go like that, okay? Maybe fill that in. And then maybe here. See that? So, where else can I go? Circle, circle, done. Okay? Yeah, I wasn't really thrilled with these. But if you want to do them in green, basically that's what this is, just in black. Okay? And then I took a little dry brush and just kind of dabbed a few little, oh, I think I need something over here now. You can do just one curlicue too. You don't have to do 2. Okay? And then you could take a little brush and put in some green if you want, and you could put in some little tiny flowers and things like that. But I think that that is it. I'm going to call it good for now. And that's what we're going to be doing. That's it for now. So like I said, this was last week when I did it. Okay, this is exactly pretty much how I did it. It's your color choices, your size of flower, your background, but you learned how to do the barn board. You learned how to do this drag technique. Make the board with a credit card. Paint, block out the yellow so it's nice and vibrant against the gray so that you don't have it muddied out because of the gray. There was a lot of stuff going on here. Yes, Patricia, yes, the petals are outlined in black. Let me bring it up close so you can see it. All right. So take a screenshot if you need to. But I outlined the petals in black, and I made this the central one, and then this one and this one. So these were the ones that were sort of facing forward. Start with the central one, and then I did the bric-a-brac. You will see this in the replay. Make sure that all of this is dry before you do that. And then I did the polka dots. Okay, and I showed you how to do all that with the back of a brush. So it's not super hard to do.